The papyrus, putting on my table every month. I don't wanna be sad. Don't even try to hide it. No, I don't wanna lose it. And you say how it is, it's so inviting. The papyrus, we're all so alive. The papyrus.
Hello, welcome to the Papyrus TV Africa. This is your news update, and first the headlines. Olayinka dismisses Falana'S criticism over construction of houses for judges. Court rules for reinstatement of Labour Party candidate. The CBN to penalize banks over empty ATMs. Naira hawkers. Tears and tributes as Army Chief Lagbaja laid to rest. Tinubu confers national honor on late Army Chief Lagbaja. Northern governors oppose VAT removal from federation account. Nasarawa farmers receive input to boost agriculture. Now on the news in details. The Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister on Public Communications and New Media, Olayinka, has dismissed human rights lawyer Femi Falana'S criticism of the Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister's construction of houses for judges as pertinently wrong and purely emotional. Olayinka made this assertion in a statement on Friday, 15th November 2024 in Abuja. Defending the federal government's decision to provide accommodation for members of the judiciary, Falana'S son had described the move as unconstitutional and embarrassment to the judiciary, arguing that such gesture could compromise the independence of judges. However, Olayinka countered that the provision of housing for judges is neither unconstitutional nor unprecedented, adding that it is a necessary measure to ensure the welfare of judicial officers. There is nothing wrong with federal government providing accommodation for judges as well as officials of other arms of government, Olayinka said. He explained that while democracy operates on the principles of separation of powers, check and balances necessitate cooperation among the three arms of government. He further argued that Falana'S concern about influencing judges were misplaced, pointing out that judges rely on land allocation and budget appropriation by the National Assembly, which also comprises politicians with pending court cases. If it is about exercising influence over the judiciary, it is the allocation of land not enough, and the judiciary budget still has to go through the National Assembly, which has politicians with court cases. Should we also stop budgeting for the judiciary because of this? He asked. Olayinka highlighted that the federal government council fake approved the construction of 40 housing units in the Kampala district of Abuja in September, with 20 units allocated to FCT High Court, 10 to the Federal High Court, and 10 to the Court of Appeal, despite criticism. He emphasized that the goal is to make judges comfortable and secure in carrying out their duties. He further criticized Falana'S logic by drawing comparison with other scenarios. Police provide security for judges, and they also have cases in court. Should we stop judges from receiving security? Anti-corruption agencies investigate and prosecute judges. Should this stop to avoid influencing them? Olayinka also refers to the U.S. judicial system, pointing out that Supreme Court justices are often politically affiliated but still perform their duties impartially. Even in the U.S. Supreme Court, justices are nominated by President and confirmed by Senate, often reflecting political leanings. Yet, no one accuses them of bias in their ruling, he stated. He concluded by urging critics like Falana to focus on ensuring that judges are well supported to deliver justice effectively rather than attacking the executive arm for fulfilling its responsibilities. Moving on, less than 24 hours before the Ondo State governorship election, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has announced the reinstatement of Olorunfemi Festus as the Labour Party candidate, replacing Olushola Ebeseni. The decision followed a judgment by the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, which overturned an earlier ruling by the Federal High Court that has declared Ebeseni as the party's candidate. INEC, in a statement shared on X, formerly Twitter, on Friday, confirmed receiving the certified true copy of the appellant court's judgment on Thursday. The Federal High Court, in a suit FHC/ABJ/CA/1 1105/2024 had on September 27 directed INEC to recognize Ebiseni as the Labour Party's candidate. However, the Court of Appeal, in appeal number CA/ABJ/CV/1172/2024, filed by the Labour Party, nullified the lower court's ruling, citing lack of jurisdiction. In obedience to the court order, the Commission has restored Festus, whose name was first published as the Labour Party candidate for the 2024 under-governorship elections, and uploaded the same to our website for public information, INEC stated. This development reshapes the Labour Party's candidate at a critical moment as voters in Ondo State prepare to cast their ballots. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has announced stringent penalties for deposit money banks (DMBs) with empty automated teller machines (ATMs) and those found selling mint cash to Naira hawkers. Solaja Olayinka, the acting director of the CBN's Currency Operations Department, disclosed this in a memo to banks on Friday. He revealed that the CBN will conduct mystery shopping exercises and periodic spot checks to trace the source of mint Naira notes in circulation and ensure efficient cash disbursement. To deter abuse of Naira, banks linked to cash seized from hawkers will fine 10% of total value of cash withdrawn on the day the seized funds were collected. Subsequent violation will attract an increment penalty of 5%, Mr. Olayinka stated. He also warned banks against cash holding, diversion, and violation of the clean notes policy, emphasizing that offenders will face strict sanctions. As the festive season approaches, with higher cash demand, Mr. Olayinka urged banks to implement robust internal control to ensure responsible and transparent cash disbursement. He highlighted the importance of prioritizing cash availability through ATMs to enhance public access. The CBN, in collaboration with law enforcement agencies, will intensify monitoring activities to prevent Naira abuse and enforce compliance. These measures aim to promote responsible cash distribution and uphold integrity of Nigerian currency. In another development, emotion ran high on Friday, 15th November, as the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, was laid to rest at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja. The solemn ceremony, attended by his grief-stricken family, colleagues, and dignitaries, served as the final farewell to the fallen general. The late Army Chief widow, Maria, struggles to hold back her tears throughout the event, her sorrow mirroring the collective grief of those present. The procession began at 3 p.m. with the arrival of Lagbaja's remains at the cemetery. Among the dignitaries who paid their respect were President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa. Each took turns laying wreaths at the grave in honor of Lagbaja's service to the nation. Speaking at the ceremony, General Christopher Mustafa vows that the military will draw inspiration from Lagbaja's legacy to strengthen its resolve against the nation's enemies. He describes Lagbaja as a man of purpose whose leadership left an indelible mark on the Nigerian army. His tenure was defined by bold and decisive actions against insurgency and other threats to our nation's peace. His legacy will continue to guide us as we defend this great nation, Musa said. Similarly, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has posthumously conferred the national honor of Commander of the Federal Republic, CFR, on the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, in recognition of his exceptional service to Nigeria. The announcement was made on Friday, 15th November, during the burial ceremony at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja. Tinubu, deeply moved by Lagbaja's dedication, described him as a true patriot and one of his most outstanding appointees. Lieutenant General Lagbaja was more than I could have hoped for. He embodied the finest ideals of a patriot and soldier. His faith in the capacity and readiness of our armed force was singular and undiluted, Tinubu said. The president invited Lagbaja's widow, Maria, to accept the honor on behalf of her husband, underscoring his immense contribution to Nigerian security and well-being of those under his command. Tinubu praised Lagbaja's courage, intelligent, and unwavering commitment to duty, describing him as a trusted advisor who prioritized the welfare of his men and their families. To me, he was a trusted advisor whose formidable intellect served this nation well. He cared deeply for this country and those who served under him. His legacy of service will forever be cherished, the president added. Although mourning the loss, Tinubu urged the armed forces to draw inspiration from Lagbaja's life and continue his mission to defend the nation. Do not let death defeat us, he said. In memory of your army chief, press on gallantly with your unfinished businesses. I pledge that the country will always support you and your families as you protect our nation. Lieutenant General Lagbaja's legacy as a professional soldier and dedicated leader will remain a guiding light for the military and the nations he served so passionately. Furthermore, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has reiterated that Northern governors support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu tax reform but oppose the removal of value-added tax VAT from the federal accounts allocation. Speaking at the launch of the Nasarawa State Board of Internal Revenue Service Digital Tax Code in Lafia, Governor Sule emphasized the region's concern, warning that removing VAT from the Federation account will significantly affect revenue sharing amongst the state. He explained, "We are not against the tax reform. There are many positive aspects to them. Our concern is with the removing VAT from FAC. If you take VAT, 60% will go to deviation and the rest will be allocated based on consumption. This poses challenges for states like ours, where goods are often consumed elsewhere after being initially purchased." Governor Sule used this experience in the private sector to highlight the complexity of VAT distribution, citing cases where goods purchased in one location are redistributed to another, complicating the consumption-based VAT model. Northern governors and other leaders from the region have urged the president to reconsider the proposal, with some threatening to mobilize federal lawmakers to oppose it. Additionally, the National Economic Council (NEC) had called for the bill's withdrawal. However, President Tinubu has encouraged stakeholders to share their concerns during the public hearing process instead of dismissing the bill outright. Governor Sule's remark underscores the North call for a fairer approach to VAT reform, ensuring that all states benefit equitably from the nation's share revenue. Finally, the Value Chain Development Program (VCDP) has distributed a large consignment of farm inputs and equipment to 282 farmers across 5 local government areas in Nasarawa State. Governor Abdullahi Sule praised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to food security under his Renew Hope agenda. He reaffirmed his administration's dedication to supporting the president's agriculture policy, noting the positive impact of VCDP initiative on farming productivity in the state. Mrs. Eunice Agizi, the state program coordinator of the FG IFAD VCDP, explained that distribution marked the first phase of an initiative aimed at enhancing farmers' operation and nutritional stability. She announced the provision of essential inputs, including fertilizer, herbicide, and rice seeds, along with critical farms equipment such as power tillers, solar-powered sprayer, irrigation pumps, rice thresher, reapers, mechanical rice transplanters, and tricycles with trailers. Azizi also emphasized the inclusion of home garden seed kits to empower women and the role of extension service in equipping farms with innovative techniques and technologies for improved productivity. The VCDP initiative, operational in Karu, Lafia, Doma, Wamba, and Nasarawa local governments, is expected to significantly enhance agricultural productivity and sustainability in the state. This has been the Papyrus TV Africa.
The Papyrus.